Hey, so if you're in government or nonprofit or any kind of organization that depends in part on grant funding, one of the more frustrating things, of course, is trying to find available grants, trying to track all the notices of when things are posted. Some of them have like newsletters or they let you know when something's been made available. Some of them you just kind of have to hunt for. So today, and the reason I'm bringing this up is just in the last couple of weeks, I've had a couple of different departments approach me with how can we track grants better using AI. So here I'm going to look at one really narrow part of that whole kind of struggle. And specifically, I'm going to look at how you can use Gemini's deep research to actually identify where grants are and kind of track those announcements. But then I'm going to show you how to use scheduled actions in Gemini to actually set that up so you can automate some of that stuff in the background. So there's nothing whiz-bang about this, but I think it's a really cool use case. So we'll go ahead and just jump in. So I'm going to say, let's see, can you generate a list of all pages on site cdphe.colorado.gov. So if you didn't know, Deep Research or Gemini can actually use site operators. So in this case, we're just wanting to track those grants that are going to be made on the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment websites. But I don't know what all those are. So the first thing we're going to do is identify the site to see that contain news and announcements regarding any grants. Can't spell. I am looking for a full list of the URLs of each page that deals with grants so that our public health and environment department can monitor those for new grant activities and opportunities. All right, so this one's really simple, straightforward. You just want to manage that, look at that site and look at the news, the announcements, and any of the pages that deal with grant announcements. There's not actually one place on the state website where all that kind of comes together. So here we are, and we're going to do tools, and we're going to use deep research. And we're going to go ahead and hit submit. So if you haven't used deep research before, crazy tool, really, really expansive in what it can actually look for on the web. But you can give it parameters, like I said, around site operators and stuff like that. But it's a two-step process. The first thing it does is this. It comes up and it basically gives you, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps that it recommends. So it's going to say, I'm looking for wages, grants, funding, grant announcements, navigate, look for sections for news and announcements, press releases, funding and grants, compile a list of URLs. That's a good start. So we're going to go ahead and click Start Research. Okay. And we're going to let that run for just a little bit. It could take 5-10 minutes, usually faster, but then we'll check back in. All right, so I've got my tea, and now the report has actually run. So the first thing I'm going to do is just export it to Docs. And when that completes, I'm going to go ahead and star it just so I can get back to it. But comprehensive analysis for CDPHE grant opportunities, executive summary, breaks it down, disease, grant program names. All right, so here is where it's starting to list a lot of the URLs that are available and have information regarding grants. And then it goes into some of the specific water chronic disease. Okay, this is great. So what I want to do now is I'm going to come back to Gemini and I'm going to open up a new chat and say no thanks. And I will go ahead and actually select the Pro model, but what I want to do is link that document in. There we go. Grants and news. And so can you now generate? So what I'm about to do is I've got two things I want to do with that paper. One is I want to extract just the full list of URLs, anything that it suggests that we actually track. The second thing I want to do is now set up a scheduled action so that every single morning at 9 a.m. There's a robot going and looking at that specific list of URLs and then sending me a summary if there has been any new information in the previous 24 hours. So each morning at 9, clock resets, next day at 9, send me news about anything that happened between those two time points so that I can kind of track things that are happening relative to the grant. So can you generate a list of all the URLs in this document that we should be tracking? Second, can you help me write a prompt that will instruct a Gemini scheduled action to run each morning at 9 a.m. and look at only this list? I cannot spell this morning. Clearly, I need more of the T. This list of URLs and send me a report of anything new. By new, I mean anything in the last, anything posted. Posted or new in the last 24 hours since the time of the last report. So give me any information that comes up on relative to these URLs and CDPHE grants and grant announcements. All right, that's a bit wordy, but that's also me. So now we're going to get submit. So the kind of the third thing that I did in there was that I first wanted that list. Second, I wanted help by Gemini to actually structure a prompt that I can load in, and the next step of what we're going to do is actually create a scheduled action that's just going to run at 9 a.m. and it's going to send me an email or a notification on my phone that the report is ready. You know, will it capture everything? Probably not, but is it a really good safety net and kind of a way of automating something that you want to do anyway? Absolutely. So here we are. Foundational hubs, targeted program pages. Got it. So that is a good list of funding activities. And so here is the prompt. So I'm going to grab this. You are an AI, right? And then it goes ahead and includes all of my instructions. Yep, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go to a new chat and go to Flash. And then I'm just going to paste it. And so what this should do now is actually just say, great, I'll set up that scheduled action. But let's find out. Great, I've scheduled a search to run. All right, that's close enough, right? So you'll get a notification when Gemini is ready. You're an AI assistant tasked with monitoring specific websites. That's right. Got it. Okay, so that scheduled action is now set to run every single morning at 9 a.m. And it'll look at just those websites and give me the latest and greatest from CDPHE on any new grant announcements. All right, I hope that helps. Later.